Good morning, good evening, good night. NFT Live. It's a Tuesday, August 1st, first of the month. May it be blessed. We shall see. Good to see you guys hopping in here early. NFT Live again. We're going to be touching on a lot of the breaking news. A lot of crypto stuff is happening outside the scene, outside of our little NFT bubble here that we're going to touch on. Excited to be here with Biggie Poppins, Gift Dead. And I feel like I say this often, but if you're still here, just congratulations. Like, just good on you. Because God, did we have a past 48 hours. But Biggie, how are we doing, brother?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. Life is good. I got lucky to sidestep some of these crazy things going on elsewhere in the ecosystem. But man, so much can happen in the span of 12 hours, I think it was, the whole, bald thing. It's insane.
Do we believe that's SBF? Please just tell me. I don't know if you're a conspiracy theorist, but you believe it's SBF.
I will put on my Marty hat today and say, yes, it's fucking FBF.
Wow. Shocker. I'm actually surprised. Gif, what's up?
Yeah, man, crypto doesn't sleep. You know what I'm saying? It just has no chill sometimes. And as soon as we think that there's a slow news day, you know that means shit's about to hit the fan. It's about to get fucking wild. Something's going to happen. And look, man, conspiracies, I'm not a big conspiracy theorist. I never have been. But some conspiracies are just true. They just are, right? And there's a lot of smoke here. There's a lot of smoke. And a lot of times in crypto, where there's smoke, there's fire, fam. Y'all know. A lot of times when there's a bunch of smoke around some shit, there's some shit going on. And there's so much to unpack with the whole FTX, SBF situation, what was going on, how that's been used as basically like a sledgehammer to try and destroy crypto in the US. Now, recently it's come out that Gary Gensler and the SEC were telling Coinbase, literally, you have to delist everything except for Bitcoin. So these are not like, there's no conspiracy around whether or not Gary Gensler and the SEC are absolutely trying to destroy crypto in the United States. That's well documented. Like, that's not we're not up here spouting. Yes. They would like it to go away if possible, other than Bitcoin, right? So we're not up here like spouting crazy theories when we talk about the fact that Gary Gensler, who, by the way, tried to like implant himself in Binance famously as like a mole. You know what I mean? Like, this guy has a track record of spanning over the last 5 to 10 years or some shit of like having an agenda against crypto and putting himself into the position to try and literally fucking destroy it. So, man, I don't know. The whole SBF thing is really sus. The fact that there was recently more charges dropped against him that were specifically had to do with campaign finance fraud and the millions, maybe hundreds of millions of dollars that the guy donated to politicians in the United States. I'm just saying there's conspiracies and then there's things that like might have some truth there. So we said we'd start with some
positive. We said we'd start with some positive news. It looks like Beeple bought a CryptoPunk. This is breaking news, folks. A clown nose for Beeple.
Of course.
A clown nose for Beeple. Looks like a grail.
Heck yeah. I would have sworn that like Beeple already owned a CryptoPunk, but hey, it's a beautiful looking punk.
Yeah, he was actually tweeting about this earlier this week, I think, or late last week, saying, hey, I need a CryptoPunk. I've been on the sidelines for so long. I think he said he didn't ever buy an NFT. Like, I think that was literally his quote. Was like,
did he literally say never? Oh no!
I have to go in here.
Well, to be fair, a big part of his whole like defense of like a lot of people have criticized Beeple for putting his thumb on the, on the scales with certain NFTs, like Nakamigos, for instance. People got super angry at him
Talk about conspiracy
creating
theories.
for creating art and saying that he was behind the project and not disclosing it and all this kind of stuff. And part of what he's been saying is like, look, I just create art about all kinds of shit that's like relevant, and I don't actually have anything to do with any of these projects. Maybe that's because he truly has never even bought or owned any, in which case that's crazy, because the guy's one of the most, like, he's literally one of the sort of like godfathers of NFTs at this point. So that's pretty wild if he's never bought an NFT. It actually kind of makes me sad. It kind of disappoints me. It's like, if there's one thing I would shit on Beeple for, it's the fact that he hasn't bought any fucking NFTs and supported artists in the space in that way.
I've never actually purchased a single PFP until now, so maybe he's purchased some art. Maybe no PFP.
So he probably does own like art pieces for sure. Not to mention all the ones he probably gets airdropped on the daily, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, he definitely has a shit ton in that wallet, for sure. All right, we talked and opened the episode about everything that's occurred over the last 24 to 48 hours.
Woo!
I mean, this is solid TLDR, so I'll just read through it. But Rectmondo is saying, over the last few days, Curve gets exploited for 50 mil. Curve founder about to get liquidated on a $100 million loan. DeFi relying on Aave safety fund. Justin's son to save it. Someone high up at Alameda, Ruggs bald. The main dex on base gets exploited. Richard Hart sued by the SEC for a $1 billion token sale. Tether made 850 mil. That's a weird one to throw in there. Sounds great. IRS says you must report staking rewards as income. Can't take a break from crypto. This question,
that's a trilogy right there. That's Lord of the Rings right there, trilogy. Like, I don't know what Hollywood's whining about. You got all the content you need right here in crypto.
What's the closest industry? Because I saw this thrown out on Twitter, and someone was asking, like, what's the actual closest industry to the amount that happens on a per hour basis?
I don't think there's any. Like, maybe back in the day when the government was trying to break up Standard Oil, maybe there were a bunch of shenanigans like this going on. But like, it's from all angles, right? Like, it's NFTs, it's shit coins, it's different protocols. It's like I don't know, man. It's like a hydra cut off one head. 6 more pop up. It's insane.
I think maybe the only comparative comparisons or comps for how much crazy shit is going on in crypto all the time might be like entertainment or video games. Like gaming definitely has a lot of shit going on all the time, because then you factor in like the gaming influencers and all their drama that's kind of like part of that whole
streaming
scene. Just like we have, all the crazy fucking crypto Twitter influencers. Gaming has a lot of that too. And then entertainment too, because like all the celebrities are kind of their own influencers or micro influencers and have a lot of clout. And then anytime they do anything weird, it's like crazy stories. So those are the only things that I could think of that are like just drama, constantly shit happening.
Yeah, I think so. The streamers and gaming is there's still nothing even
speed and at this
close.
Scale.
No, there's nothing close.
I mean, honestly, my experience with the whole ball thing, let me tell you about it. It was like Sunday. I didn't touch. I was with my family having a great time. But, towards the end of the evening, you try to catch up a little. Your most prized Telegrams and Discord channels just to make sure you haven't missed any particular alpha. And obviously, you start from the top, go all the way to the bottom. One of these channels was full. And I just started going down. And it was the fastest trip from like FOMO, like put in the RPC thing, I need to bridge some shit to base, to holy shit, thank God I didn't, and it was a span of, I'm not kidding you, 7 to 8 hours.
Biggie, you're going to chase this?
Well, I mean, I was trying to get ready. Like, I just started reading down the channel and I was like, I need to be ready. Like, this looks really interesting. I started like, putting up my RPC. I'm like, let's see what's going on. Obviously, by the time I got to the end of the chat, like it had already pumped to God knows how many mil and rugged. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, this was like really, honestly, it was like a span of like no more than 12 hours. But that's crypto for you. It's insane. Like, this is the fastest I feel I've seen something like that just unravel in a channel in such a short period of time, right? Like, it was literally my Sunday. I just didn't connect that day. But obviously, there were a lot of people in the chat that did go along with this whole thing, and no bueno.
All right, a lot to unpack here. There's a ton of different angles, let alone the SBF stuff. But I pulled up the tweet there. You talk about a round trip. I mean, he made a $2 million. This guy, shitcoiner.eth, and this was like confirmed on the blockchain. This guy had somehow caught the beginning of Bald, made $2 million, and then literally not 8 hours later had lost everything. I don't know how in this look. I get it, man. I'm a degen myself. Okay, so I fashioned myself as a degen, but in this market, to make that amount of money and just sit there and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna make 4. I'm gonna make 8." You gotta take the 2 million there, man. Come on.
But that's what happens.
Yeah, man. It's the greed and the game. Like the truth is that the people that are playing these plays right now are the most degenerate gamblers, and Biggie Poppins is almost in that group apparently. So
every now and then I like to take a punt or whatever. Honestly, what caught my attention here was that it was on the base protocol, and so for a second there, I was like, okay, like, I mean, of course, right? Leave it to like the first use case for this new protocol launched by Coinbase to be flooded with shit coins and fucking scams, right? It's not a good look. It's not good optics for the space. Having said that, it's always a race to be first on these things, and you have these points of reference in other chains and other moments. Right now, I feel like most people obviously have Pepe fresh in their minds, and so I think there's a lot of hopium and a lot of people that are trying to catch these and actually cash out on time, right? Because I hadn't heard about this guy round tripping the 2 mil. I did hear about somebody else that, lucky or not, like he did cash out, like I think at like 1 mil. And so there's always, it's that game of probabilities, and they're not in your favor, folks, by the way. DYOR,
just like
not NFA, please.
Just like in any casino, the odds are not in your favor with these types of things. But what you mentioned about it looks really bad for the space. That's what my initial reaction was like, this seems almost like timed to a T to be doing this on Coinbase like this. And that's the conspiracy. That's the conspiracy of it. People tying it back to FTX somehow. There's already a lot of smoke around him, whether or not he's working.
I thought the whole FTX tie-in there was one of the wallets that interacted the most. I think the one that set up the liquidity protocol and everything was an Alameda wallet that was like really early into a whole bunch of Alameda coins. So of course it's very suspect and warrants that whole was it SBF question, right? I don't know. For me, more than that, it's just like,
let's break this down. I cannot follow you. I cannot follow. I will go down. I think, and I don't want to say the conspiracy theories that I believe in here on YouTube because I'll just get found out by the NSA or something like that. But I will follow people down a rabbit hole. But this is just so fucking exhausting, man. To think that this guy who's literally like, I don't think he has any access to the internet. I truly don't. Like, I do not think that he has access to do the things. It could have easily been someone at Alameda. That's fine. If they want to connect it to someone at Alameda, there's a lot of people that are still out there who are part of that organization that can be a part of this. They could have sold some of these accounts. People are referencing tweets saying that the account is talking like SBF. How easy is it to say in your mind, if you're this big brain, to be like, I'm going to talk like SBF. I'm going to get all these mother MFers to start thinking I'm SBF. So I won't do it. I won't follow you down. The crazy thing about this space is, and the thing that's so sad, I don't know the shitcoiner.eth guy. The thing that's so sad is if you make that sell there, like just randomly, let's say he got lucky and you just throw it in ETH at the bottom. You know what I mean? Like you just throw like this. That's where we're sitting today. I can maybe follow you into like holding to maybe a 4 mil if we're in the mania of a bull market. You know what I mean? But to sit here, depths of a bear, and say, I'm not going to turn this 2 million into ETH and then just sit on it and be chilling for the rest of my days is just so tough to watch.
Yeah,
it hurts.
it is, man. And I wonder what like this guy was watching, because again, like I wasn't watching this play live, right? But it was almost like I got to see it in fast forward while I was looking through that channel, and the amounts of money that was being bridged into the base protocol in a matter of hours is insanity. It really is, considering like how risky bridges can be, right? And how new this protocol is. Like, it really speaks to the mindset of the degen, right? And the amount of degens that are out there. It's you know, it may be appalling, but it doesn't go unnoticed by people that are very savvy in this space and know how to game these things, right? And I mean, honestly, like, to even just think like, oh, base is open, let's launch a shit coin. You know. And it comes with that kind of like provenance argument, like be the first Doge, be the first Pepe on base, right? Heck, be the first NFT to launch on that particular chain. But man, just some people out there are really quick and really fast to just catch on to these manias and like have a capacity to fucking light these things on fire. Like, again, looking at the thing, like there was halfway through the chat, I was like, I don't know how many millions had been bridged into base, and I was just like, dude, like by then I was already like, I'm probably too late to this thing. Towards the end, it was like rugged, everybody's screwed, bridges are down. I was like, okay, good.
I do want to give people just a TLDR on base, because we just jumped into it. Like, we covered base maybe 3-4 months. This is the first time I'm hearing from base in a long time. There weren't any active bridges to base at this time, so people were like using just some like off like contract that doesn't have obviously like a front end, and they essentially launched this token on this protocol that's not even really truly live yet, in the sense that they're promoting it, in the sense that they have all of these, you know, things that they're putting time and resources into other than just the protocol, and people just absolutely went apeshit casino degen on the first day.
Wait, but don't you just love that after everything went awry, like the first instinct of these fucking degenerate people is like to turn around and be like, Coinbase should be held responsible for this shit. It's like,
where's my money?
I gotta make my money somehow.
Again, this is why it's a little bit sus, because Coinbase is embroiled right now. And yeah, Nifty Q clearly doesn't want to go down this rabbit hole, and that's fine. I'll just say, after all this is why it's so important to take profits, fam, and not get greedy. Like, and also, maybe more importantly, for us to remind you that this is not financial advice. Nothing that we talk about on this show or any of our shows is financial advice. We're not financial advisors. This face, not a financial advisor. All the information that we talk about was found publicly on the internet, and all of the opinions shared on the show are solely of the Web3 team. All info is public domain also. Please do your own research. We got to say it. I know I feel like it must get old sometimes when you listen to us. You're like, oh God, I already know NFA, blah, blah, blah. But for your safety and ours, we have to remind you of that, because yeah, this shit is high risk. High reward, but high risk. And we don't want anybody making financial decisions based on just the cool shit that we talk about that's happening on the interwebs. Here is info on Base. This is the Coinbase L2. TLDR, Base is a secure, low-cost, developer-friendly Ethereum L2 built to bring the next billion users to Web3. Heard that before? So have I. Start building on the Base testnet today and stay tuned for the upcoming mainnet launch. So yeah, they haven't even launched the mainnet, but they did launch the testnet and opened it up to devs. So that's where it's been, and that's why you haven't heard a lot about it, because they're just trying to get developers and apps built for it right now. But of course, it doesn't mean that the degens can't degen and find a way to already get wrecked over there. And or make generational wealth, I suppose. Make and lose generational wealth, excuse me.
Well, somebody made off with it, and that's the tie up to the story. Was it SBF? Again, I think my co-host did a good job of explaining why. I think there was like some verbiage that was used that people were tying into. If we can find the tweet, I'll bring it up. But basically people were tying in the way that the person was talking, who was like shilling this contract with this token when it first launched,
which could be
Also-
spoofed. To your point, strategically, they could be wanting to create a conspiracy and using some, weird vernacular that SBF used could be an easy way to make it, for people to connect dots that don't really exist.
The I guess the one thing they can go to, though, is there is some on-chain linkage between Alameda Research and what was happening with this token. So I'm going to attempt to find that. If you guys have a link, drop that in private chat, because I'd love to bring that point up as well.
Find it and talk at the same time. I'm not good at multitasking. Sorry, Q. I'll try to find it in a bit. But man, to me, like, okay, so it was linked to somebody with, should we say, insider knowledge. Sounds too, again, cabalish. But in my opinion, I mean, obviously somebody with a long track record and affiliation with Alameda, and I mean, to talk real here, I mean, like you, Q, I don't think it's SBF having access to a computer and doing this, right? For some agency or whatever. I think it's more probable to think that a lot of the people that SBF surrounded himself with were privy to how these scam coins are launched and who creates them and where to look for them, and has an edge in this respect, right? And obviously used a wallet that definitely shows that maybe he wasn't thinking things through too much or very well. This can obviously tie back to that person at some point in time down the line, and we'll find out. But it's for me, more than anything, it's like, oh well, surprise, it's tied to somebody that was high up there in the Alameda ladder. Not surprised, right? Given what has happened, it makes sense that somebody of that ilk would be involved in something like this. So I'm more curious to see if down the line we do find out who it is, right?
Yeah, and we haven't really shouted out all of y'all awesome folks joining us yet. Like Nox Darkness, who was here early, saying, I'm recovering from yesterday's surgery. I need to catch up on the news. Hopefully that went well, man. Glad to hear you're recovering at least, and happy to have you with us as always. Hope you're doing well, and that we can help you get caught up in some of the news. DP getting in here early, saying, everybody wants to make 9 figures on one trade. Get the fuck out of here. Why not take profits? Take 10% of that 2 million. Try and replicate the magic. At worst, you'll only lose a minimal amount. Yeah, why not? Fair point. Again, take profits. We got Prodigy saying
that guy could easily be 18 too. This guy has no concept of or experience. But go ahead.
No, that's it. Yeah. Prodigy saying, glad we got Biggie here to carry the show.
Oh, come on now. Right. My co-hosts are fantastic. What happened in the Web3 show, GIF? Did I miss something?
No, but we did talk about Grails, and I'm excited to get your opinion on Grails 4 announcement. And also, does this mean, does Q as a new Moonbird get any sort of access or perk? I mean, I'm jealous if so, but
yeah.
Also, when Mythics, Biggie, apparently the fact that I don't grind in their Discord is working against me right now. I am feeling absolutely discriminated against right now, because I do not believe I have any Mythics still.
I don't know, man. Maybe you were late to, subjecting your oddity to sacrifice, and it's fighting for its life, GIF. It's trying to claw out of Odd God's pit of fire, man. So we'll see, man. We'll find out. I am sure though, it'll be a fire mythic, that's for sure. And Q was entered into a raffle. They raffled 25 Grail passes to Moonbirds. I don't know, have you found out what part of nesting your bird is in, Q?
No,
if you were diamond nested, you might have been subject to that raffle. I don't know if you won. You might even want to check your wallet. Who knows? We might have a winner live on this show. I'm excited about it, particularly of the fact that there's no repeat artists in this Grail. So none of the past, which I mean, the repeat artists have been fantastic. People like Snowfro and like ACK, but the fact that there are no repeats, kind of like it's weird. It like sets my mind at ease at some point, but at the same time, I'm like really curious to see who's gonna be the headline. Usually there's one to three like super headline artists that are there. They haven't revealed many of the pieces yet because, as we know, artists have a propensity for delaying our gratification in this regard. But the ones that are out there are pretty sick. I'm particularly fond of the Doom scroll, I would call it, Grail number 4. I don't know if you checked that one out. It's fantastic.
Well, there's three long form generative art blocks projects in there, which is fucking dope.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. And right now, I think Grail passes are going for a pretty sweet deal. I think like 1.6, something like that, maybe a little less. Oh, look, it's a Marty McFly popping into the chat. How are you, my friend? It's good to see you. You missed quite a bit of our tinfoil hatting regarding the SBF base debacle. Would love for you to weigh in on that.
All right, I think I'm going to try to play this here. Let me see if I can get this on audio for y'all, and then we can kind of work our way here into Grails a little bit, although you did cover some of it.
I'm Eli Scheinman, curator of the Grails project. The concept behind Grails is simple. You have 1 week to select an artwork. Each piece created by a different artist, each artist with a unique story. But here's the catch. Artist names are kept secret. You won't know which piece is yours until the day the Grails are revealed. A selection that could make you a part of history. Choose wisely.
All right, covering Grails Season 4 here. We can jump into a little bit more of the details, but Marty McFly saying, I think Grails is the best thing produced by Kevin Rose, honestly. I want whatever Grail Rip Cash. I have a feeling he is one of them.
That would be fantastic. I agree. I could see myself totally aping into a Rip Cash. If he makes it obvious, though, right? Which many do not. If it's his signature cams, then heck yeah, like that's going to be a hard one to displace for me. I usually go for the safer bets. I don't like speculating, and that's been to my detriment. I like to go for the ones that I'm pretty certain about who they are, and so far I have been, and I'm happy, and I don't suffer like the angst, right, that occurs.
So break this down really quick for those people who are uninitiated Grail. So basically, what you can do is look at these art reveals or like these kind of like examples of what's going to be there, and you could say, okay, that looks a lot like what this artist is creating.
Well, more than that, what I love about Grails, Q, is that it really puts the collector on the spot in the sense that you are given a choice. You can try and speculate on who that artist might be, and sometimes you're led astray on purpose, right? But you can try to speculate on that artist and who it might be, whether it's because you love that artist or wink, wink, because you know what his pieces go for, so you're degen. Or you can just be a collector and go for what you love, right? And I think like all of us in Proof want like definitely concur with that belief, right? Like you go for what you love. That's how I've kind of like played my Grail passes, right? But some people have more than one, and so maybe if you have more than one pass, you're able to speculate on the second, right, and try to hit the jackpot, as they say. But I really like it because it really places that onus on the collector to kind of like, I don't know. I always find that whenever these things happen, like there's a debate, and I'm always like showing my wife the pieces, and I have like great conversations in the channel regarding like what it is that I like about a piece or not. So it's like conductive to that, right? Like it really forces you to take your choice seriously, and not just in terms of like potential monetary value or who that artist might be, but it's like, do you really like the piece? Like is it something that you'd put up on your wall? You know, it's your one shot. And so it's a really fun mechanism, and I agree with Marty. Like I think it definitely it's the best invention Cairo has come up with in the Web3 space. That's the only thing I would add. Like he's had some good ideas in other spaces as well. I think I'd give him credit for that. But for me, that's like it's been a fantastic contribution to the space, and you see it emulated by other art platforms with little tweaks here and there. But it's really fun because before, like I feel like it wasn't as easy to confront the collector in such a way, right? Like I think it belongs in this conversation in art, very much like Banksy, right? Like where like you don't need to know who he is. Like he doesn't want you to know who he is, you know? Like he doesn't want to make friends that know that he's Banksy. He's got enough friends already, right? Like but again, it's like it puts the whole question of the value of that art in the beholder, right? Like there's no, you know, the people that find secondary markets for this and eventually turn it into this whole ecosystem that is required. I'm not bashing the Christie's and Sotheby's of the world, but I do think that when it comes to collecting art, like while it's cool to learn from other people that have a more developed eye, it is paramount that you develop your own taste. And those are two very different things. And it's very hard to not allow yourself to be influenced by people that maybe come from that world, right? And I think mechanisms like this force you to really have that conversation with yourself and with other people that you care about, and make the choice like all by yourself. Let's just put it that way, or not. And if you were wrong, hopefully you recognize it and you do it better next time.
So a couple different pieces here that I want to follow up on that. That was a great breakdown as well, Biggie. Grails Alpha here from Eli Scheinman, here, the head of art over at Proof. 20 artists, no repeat artists from the past season, 6 art blocks curated, 3 long-form generative collections, 1 Genesis, 1 NFT will interact with a secret adjacent contract. And then we also put up another tweet that was mentioning that they're offering additional utility. I believe Biggie, you were mentioning the Moonbirds raffle, as well as I think those who own a certain amount of previous Grails from previous seasons are now getting airdropped this season. So that's additional utility there. So W's on a lot of fronts.
Yeah, the whole, I like that little addition there, which is like if you've held a piece from each collection, each different Grail collection, you will be rewarded, right? And I don't know, I find that like a really nice little detail or consideration for folks that have not flipped, that have diamond handed their pieces, that really maybe love them like I do. I have yet to find out what that's going to be, but I think it's pretty cool.
All right, DP with a controversial one here. The only reason I push back against this is because this is art related, and Proof is very heavily leaning into the art. But DP saying you can go for what you love. The age-old lie that NFT flippers echo amongst one another, same as I'm here for the tech.
Yeah. Exactly. But it's a duality that exists, you know? I mean, I definitely think some people weigh more heavily on one than the other. I am both degen and a collector, but I think that certain mechanisms, just like when you see what happened with base and the ball thing, it's like that's obviously meant to incentivize a certain particular type of persona and action, right? It was all about speed, be there first, get there in quick. Other mechanisms, much like Grails, I feel, do skew the the focus in a different direction. And it has to do a lot, I think, with the way it's launched, the way it's treated on social media, the fact that we're discussing it here today. And as these artists are released throughout from here till the 7th, people will weigh in on, and the sleuthing is magnificent. I mean, if you should see when Tim Ferriss came out, like, it was crazy how they were able to trace down and confirm that it was indeed like Tim Ferriss based on his handwriting. Like, there's obviously people out there that are trying to hack the system, right? And like get whatever artist they want because they think it's going to be worth it or not. I mean, but I do like that just the way the mechanism is built, it inspires deeper research and introspection and knowledge, and that in of itself is valuable. Because
the options you have,
the mystery around it is interesting, right? It's a really well built product that they've created here, because it's pulling on a lot of different levers and strings that work really well within Web3. And that's an interesting tie into the DeGods and, my thoughts on the current status of like floor prices versus long-term, business value and all that type of stuff. Because it seems like maybe the only thing that matters in Web3 to collectors or traders, at least like collectors and traders right now, is Web3 hype, and like creating mystery and like, some kind of expectations and that type of stuff. And so the fact that they built that into this too is fucking brilliant. Yeah, man.
I mean, it forces you to get educated even a little bit, right? Like, which I think is important in this space, like.
So Biggie, I wanted to ask you though. Well, Biggie, so I wanted to ask you, sorry to cut you off, but like, I wanted to get to this question. So you are getting these mint passes, right?
Yeah.
So do you ever sell them, or are you like, no, I want the art, even if like, because right now it's 1.6, you said it's pretty expensive. It's like,
yeah, it's 1.6, and some people are selling them, to be honest. Like, some people are, and I think that's fine, man. Like, that's what crypto's all about, right? To have it's liquid VC. It's the capacity to turn a profit when and if you can, whenever you can, however you can, like without any intermediaries telling you what you can and can't do. That is core to crypto ethos. I'm all for it. Different people have different points of view. Like, I get it. Like Prodigy's mentioning, he's got 2 kids and he's got other priorities, and so for him, there's certain prices that if are hit, you sell. I too have certain prices that I would be a fool not to sell, right? I would like to think, Q, that if I would have gotten in on Bald and it hit 2 million, that I would have had the experience from my past fumbles to be able to be like, yeah, I'm selling, right?
Well, you never make generational wealth if you are not diamond handing. That's the thing. Like, if you flip everything after a 2 or 3x, the amount that you have to hit is just ungodly. Like, you got to hit on like 30 different projects to make like generational wealth. So it's a little bit of dichotomy there. Like, if you don't have diamond hands, you never actually see that number. But then you got to flip your model.
I think like if you're in crypto to make money, first of all, I would think that the easiest and fast, and we've covered this many times here, Q, is just buy and hold, motherfucker. Buy and hold, follow the cycles, sell at the top, rebuy at the bottom, right? And if you're a trader,
easy.
I mean, way better to do it with tokens, right? With coins. Like, if you're in NFTs to make money, then to me, you're just on another level of degenerate. Like, I love NFTs. It's my favorite sector in the whole crypto space, but I am not, like, my primary drive to be here in NFTs is not money making. It is a small part of my portfolio. It is not designed to make money. It is designed to join really good, cool communities. And yes, down the line, are you kidding me? I am speculating, but I'm thinking 5-10 years down the road. Like, I'm trying to like bet on projects that are going to be here through several down cycles, not just 1 or 2. And it's the same with the art, right? Like, if you're going for something like the Grails and you get a chance to mint something like that, I mean, sure, I could flip my pass for 1.6 ETH and what? Like, buy Cryptodickbutts? Like, no, like I'll I'll keep the pass. I wanna learn. I like the conversation is way more valuable to me in the Discord. I get rewarded for it every now and then for holding. And 5-10 years from now, we can talk. And maybe then there's a price point and an offer that I can't refuse. But that's not my primary motivator to be in NFTs.
Yeah.
Crypto tokens, that's a different matter, But with NFTs, I don't know. Like, there's some people that make it work and make fantastic amount of money. Good on them. You got to know yourself as a trader, as an investor. I know myself. This is not where I'm going to make like my generational wealth, at least not in the near term.
This actually ties into a tweet that I wasn't going to bring up. I had it on the dashboard, but I might as well bring it up now. These are a couple shout outs to the community here. Michael Finch, or Mike Finch, as we call him, there at Parada Capital, has been on the show multiple times. He's a good friend of ours. He said this 1000x, and the tweet says, focus on whatever time frames you're most profitable on. If you can't execute well on swing trades, don't take them. If you're printing on scalps and intraday setups, keep mashing those buttons until their ink dries. Great setups with terrible execution is a bad trade. And basically what that means is do what you're good at. If you're clearly, if your narrative in your mind is not working, then likely you're probably not good at that type of trading. I think that's some of what is being gleaned there. And then the other shout out I wanted to
get called out all over the place here. It's fine. It's fine.
It's all right.
What?
It's fine. It's fine. Everything's fine.
What's going on?
Been really enjoying the rehash. This is from Saigo, by the way. Been really enjoying the rehash from Web3 team. Lets me pretend to be up to date on the Web3 news as it comes out. Big ups on the gaming. Shout out for Parallel trading card game. Really excited for their beta coming up. Enjoyed playing it at the last couple conferences. So really big shout out to Saigo there. We've been doing those rehashes post NFT live pretty much every day now, at least during the week. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that. I'll link that out in chat as well. Gif, you're not being called out, dude. We're all at fault of that same thing that he just said.
Yeah, I'm taking myself down a notch. It's fine. It's some things are felt more than others, and some things are just true and you can't avoid it. And we're here to be transparent and honest. I talk about my L's all the time. So, people know people know way too much, frankly, about my big L's.
Mike has never made me money on NFTs. I've only lost money trading NFTs with Mike. I bought a Doodles at like 10 ETH. I bought something else. Mike's never made me money on NFTs. And this is why he probably said the same thing for me.
This is why it's so important to, again, remind everybody, nothing here is financial advice. This is why the people that I like, that I know, that like come up to me as a friend or an acquaintance, and they're asking me like, oh, what are you doing with crypto NFTs? Like, I basically don't tell them shit anymore because I'm horrified. I am horrified that some of them will like go buy something because they think that I think it's a good idea, or they think that taking on the level of risk that I take in my day-to-day life is a good idea for them. So like I try and like not tell anybody anything other than like buy and hold Bitcoin and Ethereum and dollar cost average in to those. And like, other than that, I'm so scared to tell anybody anything. But we do have Masked Mage over here. Curious, maybe a new friend, maybe Justin Murray. I don't know. Okay, cool. Shout out Masked Mage. Okay, cool. Well, coming in with some hot questions. How does decentralized finance, thank you for clarifying that that's DeFi. I appreciate that. How does DeFi add value to Web3, and what are its revenue streams? DeFi adds a lot of liquidity options, ways to create leverage, ways to like stake and
lending and borrowing.
Gain and profit just by holding and securing networks. So literally being able to
able to verify the holdings of particular wallet or liquidity provisions, unlike certain centralized institutions.
Yeah, but the most important part really is like the difference between Web3 and Web2 that's so key to like us as stakeholders, participants, is that we want to see a paradigm shift where the value accrues to a protocol and not to a company, right? So that is decentralized ownership, where that network effect, all the value that's been created over the last 15 years in Web2 that went to Apple, to Google, to Facebook, and really didn't trickle down, right? Didn't accrue to a protocol that we all participate in. DeFi is one of the ways that you can participate in the value being created in these protocols. But yeah, lending and borrowing, being able to leverage, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, transparent ledgers is another thing we saw with the FTX debacle, that people were inputting their funds, sometimes to, trade tokens, sometimes to hold different things, but none of it was actually, being held by FTX. It was being shipped off to Alameda. All these backroom deals were happening. And so with DeFi, you have the ability to have a transparent ledger and to see that these are where the funds are. The problem with that is you see, like Curve and some other things, you can potentially have exploits on the security side. Not necessarily the transparency side, but the security side. So
yeah. Well, DeFi really is just all of everything you can do with finance except updated with blockchain tech. So it's like better, faster, more transparent, less middlemen, less fees, unless again you're doing like horrible gas trades regularly. Maybe it adds up to be worse than fees. But like, this is why, for instance, XRP can totally change the game on global finance, because like right now you use this thing called a Swift network that takes days or weeks to run a transaction, and you're losing like 25% or some crazy percentage of fees in every transaction. It's like all of the problems that you have with traditional finance, many of those can be solved just by moving it, a lot of those tools or those mechanisms or utilities onto blockchain tech and using the decentralized ledgers and protocols instead, not to mention all the value that could be created by the users.
If you want to venture into the lending and borrowing side as well, it's a lot better access, or a lot easier access to liquidity, right? Like you don't have to walk into a bank, you don't have to do all these different things. You can actually access that liquidity as long as you hit the terms on that loan, right? As long as you don't, and then if you don't hit the terms, you get liquidated. That's pretty much that simple. If you want to break it down to simple concepts, I'm getting absolutely capped on.
We both are, bro.
Are you kidding me? I was like an off-fan drug lord.
Felipe Goncalves
today, man.
Dude, Felipe Sale is saying I need to sell my Trump NFTs, bro. I never had any Trump NFTs.
That's true.
I don't plan to ever get any.
It's probably up, honestly. Trump NFTs are probably up.
But actually, though, Nifty Q does kind of look like an off-brand drug lord. He kind of does today. Thank you. Maybe unbutton one more button though. Maybe one more down.
No, I can't go. It's all the way down. It's all the way down.
Oh my God. Just take it off.
I got nothing.
Let's make it a memorable show. Come on. Okay. This is entertainment, bro. We're in the entertainment business up here.
Leaning into this DeFi thing as well, because just recapping on this Wrecked Mondo tweet. Hopefully, I still have it up. Or did I lose it? Damn it! We had the Curve situation happen. So Curve's a great example. I mean, this is over and over and over again. You see with DeFi exploits, hacks. Just negative things happening in and around DeFi. Well, Curve completely got exploited, and it looks like the Curve founder was found out to have like all of this debt that he actually has no means of paying back. So he was kind of caught with his pants down when this exploit happened, where the token started to go, down, down, and down. The stablecoin started to move downwards. He didn't think that would happen. And so he had all of these loans set up that he thought they would never hit. It's very, very much the situation with, the 08 and the real estate mortgages and things like that. Things they never thought would happen, happened. And therefore they got caught with their pants down. Same thing happening here. Dude, honestly, and I don't want to overstate this, it looks like all of his Curve tokens that were either locked up or that he had access to still that weren't a part of this loan were bought up OTC to save whatever this liquidation was going to cause. And this would have had like long ripple effects for the entire space. But it looks like over the past 24 hours, even up to last night, some huge whales came in and bought up Curve, I believe, at a discount here. OTC.
Luna size.
Yes. And so the fallout that you saw from Luna, from Terra Luna, would have happened potentially if you didn't have these big buyers come in, which is essentially what didn't happen in the Terra Luna, right? Nobody came in to save his ass. And so we had those big liquidations. So that's what you see. And shout out to Justin Sun, absolute Like he was an OG of the last space for sure. But Justin Sun, DCF God, and others line up to buy Curve Finance founders tokens so that my man can therefore not be liquidated on $100 million worth, which, by the way, he used to buy 2 extremely large mansions in Australia.
Because one is not enough, Q. You need to have one to sell, to flip, right? That's the thing.
Yeah,
you buy
that's
2 that you like.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's NFT degen logic applied to physical real estate.
Exactly.
Buy 2
solid,
so you can
pad.
Flip one for a profit, keep the one you like.
That's a nice bear market purchase.
Sheesh.
So
he's got his own fucking soccer field, bro.
Anytime I see houses that big, I wonder how many Roombas it takes to clean that motherfucker. Like it's just like, is it like Star Wars? They're just fucking running around all over the place. You're tripping over them.
I think it's a lot of our people, Biggie. I don't think it's a Roomba. Delphi Digital tweeting out here yesterday, several Curve Finance pools were exploited. Curve founder Egorov currently has a $100 million loan backed by a certain amount of Curve. With CRV down 10% over the last 24 hours, the health of Curve is in jeopardy. This is one of the largest DeFi protocols in the entire space, by the way. One of the first that kicked off DeFi summer back in 2020. I mean, this is longstanding. This had effects that we're going to lean over into Aave, which is another of the biggest DeFi protocols. So there was a lot of like existential contagion here for what was going down here. Again, the guy took on too much risk. Bought apparently a bunch of houses with that risk for whatever reason. And so everybody's kind of at risk. Like, stop me if you haven't heard this before. Okay. So this is the problem with DeFi is we always run into this fucking bullshit where these tools aren't necessarily the problem. It's the way these tools are used that leads to a bunch of these situations.
And it just seems like founders consistently keep not making good decisions and painting themselves. Like, dude, this Richard Hart guy, I've been looking into this following him getting sued by the SEC. That guy is like not the type of person that I want representing the space, man. But he becomes now a poster child for everything that's wrong with Web3, right? Another guy that's just like, dude, he's out there literally just taking consumer funds to go buy fucking millions of dollars of like Louis Vuitton and like awful overpriced fashion wears for himself. It's just like, bruh.
That guy has actual mental problems. Richard Hart has actual mental issues, I think, if not just sociopathic issues. But let me bring up this video. Biggie, have you seen this video yet of him in the Louis Vuitton store?
Oh no, I haven't. I've seen him do some other shit with his Louis Vuitton crap, but
nice.
What is he doing now? Oh no,
bro, what are you wearing?
He's wearing
he
all
looks like
Gucci
a fucking
in a Louis Vuitton store.
No, but like, look at what a fucking goober this guy is. Like, he thinks that this is cool. Like, look at me. Look how fucking cool I am. Bruh, you look like a clown. You are a fucking clown, dude.
Yeah, all right, Felipe saying, tight live today, y'all. GIF, I was just messing with you, brother. Hey, listen, as long as you're just messing with us, it's fine. DP and Prodigy, they mean it when they're doing it. They're just waiting. Right when the show starts, they're waiting with some tomatoes just to peg us with. Oh, pause. That's probably not the right terminology. All right, next, moving on. So I don't want to spend time on Richard Hart. I wasn't going to give him any other kind of love. That was the Curve news, though. Like, we basically had Curve price downwards, guy at $100 million in loans, and that's where we are today. So it got saved overnight. It looks like Aave's saved. It looks like there's all of these things that could have happened negatively aren't going to happen.
Yeah, that could have been like a Luna-sized fucking hole in the ecosystem. That could have really been a lot worse. I'm glad they were able to fix it, and I hope that they're running all types of tests to prevent anything similar happening down the line, because we don't need that right now.
Y'all are talking about this like we're out of the woods. Are we out of the woods on this, or are we just like temporarily feel
not
like
at all. Not at
maybe
all.
we're be saved.
All right, we're coming up to the end of the episode here in about 10 minutes. We want to keep these to about an hour usually, folks. Yeah, we got a lot to hit, so I want to make sure we get through it.
Let's hit it.
Let me make sure I've got this. Following up on that piece and transitioning into DeGods, the market did okay in this situation. Again, we're still not out of the woods yet, but Bitcoin went down to 28.5, I believe. Ethereum is sitting about where it was. Based on the negative sentiment that was following this DeFi stuff, it went down to about 1,800. I think there's still some performers here in the NFT space, some outsized performers. DeGods, the one that we're mentioning here, is performing well based off this season 3 that we're about to touch on. Proof Collective, I think, is doing well. The Grapes still killing it. So shout out to those guys. Hopefully you're making some money, folks, if you're trading the Grapes. CanPie's doing well. VFriends doing something. What's VFriends pumping for? Gift, do you know? Do you have any news there?
Squishmallows? I don't know. Maybe they've had some other big announcements lately, but I think one of them is that they continue to establish strong partnerships in the physical retail space. They've also been doing the card game. VFriends is out there, man. There's a lot of these projects right now that are consistently showing up, building Web 2, Web 2.5, sustainable business models, experimenting with cool activations, new products, etc. It's just most of that is just not translating into floor price, right? A lot of them are still just getting beaten down. And again, this is what I was talking about in my tweet yesterday, and what I guess Frank DeGods was talking about this morning. Nothing other than Web3 hype tactics seems to have much of an impact right now. Like even Clonex just announced a massive thing, maybe new PFP project, and they're even doing it through hype, and that's even a Web3 hype story, and that's not even necessarily doesn't seem to be having that much impact. It's just tough, man. And this again, I was tying it back to the Cryptodickbutts with their exit strategy. I kind of get it. I'm still kind of questionable on the season 4, mint it and then leave, what that's about. But overall, trying to come up with a creative exit strategy to keep things moving in a positive direction without feeling like you're chained to a Discord for the rest of your life, answering to angry degens. I fucking get it, man. I get that part of it.
As a founder, you're not chained to a Discord. You have moderators and you have all these different things. I guess if you don't ever make it into a position where you're hiring, then yes, then you probably
so you're just on the hook to pay for a gang of moderators to be there 24/7 that are chained to a Discord for the rest of your life.
That's part of the just having a business in Web3, I guess, is that's your community engagement. Whoever you're hiring for marketing, whoever you're hiring for PR, I don't know, they just have to be in there. So yeah, I think that's what you kind of get yourself into if you're trying to sell it off a community when you're doing well.
The logistics of it don't work out. I can tell you that.
Well, I'll give you an example. I always go back to Bored Ape. This is maybe an outlier, so maybe I'll go even farther down. There's other projects that are doing well. Garga doesn't have to be in the Discord.
They're an outlier. We can't use Bored Apes as a normal project.
So take that example, and whatever founder. So Star-Lordy, he's in an example where in 2 years they probably don't have to be in a Discord.
Here's the thing: Cryptodickbutts could have launched, been successful, and kept itself out of the whole Discord community situation that it fell into, like so many other projects, right? Because I believe it's CCO. And it was a meme, and it was a thing when it launched, and there's a lot of people that are super bullish on it and love it so much, right? Having said that, I think, I don't know, when I read this story and what they were trying to do, innovative for sure. I was wow, this is an interesting way to kind of say, I want to cut cords with this. I don't want to deal with it anymore. If somebody else wants to take the reins, here you go, but pay me for it.
Yeah.
That's the small part where for me, it's like, okay, or you can just cut the cord and you don't need to get paid. I imagine you hold some crypto butts that you could sell down the line, especially if you remain bullish on them. The big issue here, I think, and like Gif said, is that instead of going down the route of, say, so many other art projects where they don't have a Discord and they, their only congregation occurs on Twitter, they opened the doors to evil Discord. That's why probably GIF doesn't participate that much. I'm starting to think that's the reason. GIF knows something about Discord, but it can be a lovely place to hang out with great communities. It can also be hell. And what I gather from this poor man is that it's been hell for him and he's done with it.
Dude,
and
it's
yes,
not easy for it's not easy for the community that we created either. We used to have our community was very vibrant on NFT Twitter. Like that completely has gone away as the market has shifted, and we've shifted into something that is more business model related, hopefully. And that's, that hasn't been received well by the community that once used it. So yeah.
So basically, we're concluding that communities are fickle by their very nature, right? And the bigger the community is, the more fragmented it can become, right? And the greater like the leaders and spokesperson and pillars that you need to have within that community to sustain its like level-headedness and direction, right? But this was a degen play. This was a degen meme play, very much along the lines of goblins, right? And it felt good, man. Did it feel good? I remember so many people, and I hate it because I think they're fucking hilarious, the Cryptodickbutts, right? But at this point in time, like very few things can survive the way Doge or Pepe can, and I think that's the lesson here for the majority of people. Is like most memes have an expiration date, and while they can revive down the line, for an instant or so, they're not meant to be like, they're never going to be a Mona Lisa, right? Take it for what you will, but it feels like some of these people in the community are determined to turn the Cryptodickbutts into something that they're not. You know what I mean? Yeah. They really want to legitimize it and turn it into something that they're not. Like by their very nature, they're meant to be a meme. They're meant to be something funny and a flash in the pan situation. And if you were in it to cash out like the degen that you are, you should have fucking done it a long time ago, right? And if you're pissed because your bags are down now, and now you want to turn it into a serious project, well, good luck to you, buddy. It's probably not going to work out.
So on a couple spaces this morning, people were talking about, I think Pudgy Penguins, Oni Force, a couple others, they've been acquired, and they've done well post acquisition. So I'm not saying that these are like negative things essentially for these projects, but the way that they're going about it, saying we're just going to pass it off to the community. It's like I've seen it too many times in DAOs and some of these other attempts.
It could go either way.
I'll tell you that right now, though. You know who would be the perfect buyer for something like this? And it would be someone like Pornhub or some shit like that. Like they should just sweep in, buy the whole fucking thing, and just give their holders free access for life. And that fucking thing will turn into a pretty valuable fucking NFT. Free advice: Pornhub, go buy Cryptodickbutts now.
Actually, you're thinking about it. It already has a product. It already has a product that's massively used. Wow. All right. We have to get to this Frank DeGods and season 3. Gift, did you have any last takes on the Cryptodickbutts? I don't know how we even made it to that combo, but
because we're talking about how difficult it is being founders, and they're taking a unique approach to trying to find an exit right now. So I wanted to look at the sellout because you just pulled up that they apparently already sold out. I just tried going to the website. It looks like it says sold out. Where is there Cryptodickbutts like season 4, or where's the collection? Because I only see one Cryptodickbutts on OpenSea.
Wow.
It doesn't look like the supply.
Tell me Sergito did not buy Cryptodickbutts and is going to be the leader of them now.
All attention turns to the reveal in the 30-day clock for new owners to be determined. It looks like Cryptodickbutts season 4 is in fact there on OpenSea.
Let's go to let's look at the analytics because we'll see who the biggest holders are. I know
Okay.
Sergito was kind of like vying for the spot, but he's got the whole me bits, sees the memes kind of, you know.
Yeah.
So
TLDR
is he
on this,
gonna
folks,
is he gonna do a merge?
I want to make sure. I feel like a lot of times, guys, we go immediately into like the details of it, and I need to explain what's actually happening here. When Biggie is saying, does he think Sergito went heavy? It's like there is a battle happening right now for ownership of Cryptodickbutts. Like that's the way they set this up. Whoever owns the most, is it in season 4, Biggie? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think it's like whoever owns the most is going to get access to the Twitter handle and all they're going to get control of.
They take it over.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, it makes sense that probably, and Sergito's always been very bullish on the Cryptodickbutts, so it makes sense that he'd be vying for that position.
I didn't realize that they were all separated into different collections like this. That's kind of lame. I don't like. I mean, it's the same project. It's Cryptodickbutts. Why are you doing 5 different collections?
Okay, Marcel the Pump owns 145.
All right,
that could be on second. Some of that could have been bought up on secondary. I don't. Jizz.eth owns. I think we need to look at this data a little bit harder. Where are the funds going from season 4? Because that's a real kick in the dick out the door.
I think
it's like, hey, we're leaving.
That's somebody's golden parachute, brother.
No fucking way. They really?
I think so. I mean, honestly, I didn't bother reading the fine details, but yes, I think that's like he's relinquishing the Cryptodickbutt reigns, and to do that, he must be compensated. So. I guess, yeah.
It's a buyout. That's how you buy it out. That is the buyout. The community is buying the project from the founders. So look, that's the kind of like the least best part about it, in my opinion. But I can't call this a rug because they didn't set some crazy expectations that they're not delivering on. They didn't raise a bunch of money on some promise of a game or something, or they didn't hype up like, hey, we're launching a token and then literally rug the liquidity a fucking day later. That's not what this is. So I just think that's their play. That's their play.
They sold out, right? People were willing to buy. They were willing to not only just buy, but buy a ton, like compete for this. So somebody there sees value, thinks that they can do something. I don't know.
Thank you, Easy. Maybe interesting new rug. Yes. No, look, if you can make here's another success here. If you can turn your NFT project into a meme, or it is like more art focused, you're not beholden to all of these requirements or guidelines that everyone else is beholden to. Because we look at Cryptodickbutts and we're like, no, it's a meme. It's like, what about the one that launched right after it? Oh, because it never caught on as a meme, it's not beholden to those guidelines. It's like, dude, do that. Make your project into a meme somehow, and you're not beholden to anything.
So I like Easy and Crypto over here saying actually it's more like a shawl than a rug. I think maybe it's like a poncho. If you throw it on the floor and look at it in certain light, you could say it kind of looks like a rug. But I don't think by definition this is a rug. I'm sorry.
It's not. It's not a rug. It isn't.
I think the reason some of us might be having like a little bit of a gag reaction to this is that you are in the end extracting money or monetary value from the very community that built you, right? Like, well, no, I mean, in order to be a meme, you need a community to support that meme. You know, it doesn't mean like they need to congregate and hold each other's hand and whatever. Like, it's just like these people obviously collected these dickbutts for a very long time because they believed in that meme and they were a big thing. They turned it into a thing, into a valuable thing for which people are bidding in. And to think that somebody's like, I can't deal with this anymore, pay me and I'll give it to somebody else. I don't know. I'm not judge and jury. I don't know exactly how I feel about it. It's a little bit humorous sometimes, and sometimes it does feel a little bit like yicky. Like, like why don't you just give it to the community instead? But hey, if he needed to get paid, wanted to get paid, good on you. Looks like it worked.
Season 3 is up 10%. Season 3's up 10%. It found a little bit of support here. Down 30% of the last 7 days off the announcement. It kind of dropped, obviously, but it is up 9%.
0.75 floor.
Yeah.
My friends, like, there's no utility as of yet, at least for these things. Like, you know, like, look at other projects that like actually have doxed founders and are like shipping product and stuff. It's like, holy crap, dude.
What I'm about to show you haunts Marty McFly's nightmares.
You bought one. No, I'm kidding.
No. Marty, eat your heart out, McFly. Crypto Garga with the Yuga Labs Council walking in to their court deliberations yesterday, in which Yuga won, I think, pronouncedly.
What? Did you say pronouncedly? What?
Yeah, pronounced.
Pronouncedly? Is that a word?
Pronouncedly?
Pronouncedly? What?
Okay, now,
What do you... Can somebody check this in the dictionary?
Marty, I'll have more alpha for you after Marfa.
Pronouncedly. Wow, this is a word. Dude,
Pronouncedly.
you just taught me something. Pronouncedly. In a way that is very noticeable or something. Wow. Okay. All right, Q. Scoring points over here.
I'm about to take Gift Dead and take him off the screen here.
I thought you were making up words. I thought this man was just making up words.
Anyways, key ruling: Yuga substantively. Is substantively a word we can use on this show? Are we good?
There you go.
Prevails on false designation of origin, cyber squatting, defense on the First Amendment, fair use defense, unclean hands defense, and counterclaim DMCA. We can hop into this mirror, but it seems like to all the folks that have been following this court case that it just is going to come down to how much Ryder Rips and Pauly owe Yuga Labs. But we can go into the summary of judgment again, just so that Marty can hear it one more time. False designation of origin, cyber squatting, defendants First Amendment defense, defendants fair use defense, defendants unclean hands defense, and defendants sole counterclaim alleging a knowing misrepresentation of infringing activity related to DMCAs.
All right, you want some irony? I like irony. Do you like irony? Here's some irony. All the people that have been following Pauly and Ryder Rips and their whole conspiracy theory, just shitting on Yuga, calling them racist, saying that they're all fucking neo-Nazi propagandists. All the people that follow Pauly and Ryder and have supported this whole anti-Yuga whatever train, this bandwagon of just shitting on the apes, shitting on Yuga, following them, supporting what they do. You just got rugged multiple times via Pauly and probably Ryder in the past. And all of those funds, like Pauly just launched this pawn token and rugged a bunch of people, took down a bunch of money, and all that money is going to Yuga. It's going to pay for his legal fees. Okay. So all y'all that fucking hated on Yuga, you're actually indirectly paying Yuga.
Hey, Q.
I don't know what the number needs to be. What's up, Biggie?
I was gonna say you could mint that, for Marty, and like give it to him. That mirror. I don't know if you saw all the way at the bottom. You can mint that article and gift it to Marty if you wanted to.
How much is it going for?
I think it's just
priceless. If you airdrop that into Marty's wallet, it's fucking priceless.
But you could send it to Marty's wallet, and he would treasure it
to his wallet. Soul bind it,
or
there.
Really try to sell it.
Okay, it's on.
And it's limited. It's 500 only.
Wow, only 3 have been minted. So not too much. Not too much fanfare. Okay. I didn't want to spend too much time on it. We can't even get to we need to wrap up on DeGods, but this is just look. I don't know what the dollar amount gift. I was just going to follow up because I thought you broke it down relatively well there. I don't know what the dollar amount looks like for Yuga to end up in the black on this because they had to spend legal fees as well. So I don't know.
How much were they damaged by all the FUD and the hate that was spewed at them too? Like, how do you even, calculate that damage? because if you remember when this was all hitting, the floor tanked. Like it took a hit. So
yeah, vindication has its own perks, I'd say.
Yeah, the motherfuckers that talk shit about this though are never gonna come back out and be like, "Oh, you were right. Oh, sorry." Nope. That's the problem with all this, is that everybody just gets to grandstand on Twitter, gets to talk shit about other clubs. Just live and let live, dude. This space is so small. Why do you feel like you need to attack
ambulance chasers, right?
Yeah,
that's what they are.
Yeah, dude, but
they exist everywhere.
They're benefiting from spinning up that hate and vitriol online. It's the engagement farming aspect of it. They they built their own brands by and large on this.
I'm not even talking about those two fuckers. I'm talking about their zealots and those people that follow the negativity that's spewed from all this.
Yeah, emulated. Yeah.
So,
virtue signaling, cancel culture, pitchfork.
We are such at a small point in this industry. Why did we have to constantly deal with Solana's better, Polly's not a rug, you suck? Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, I agree, bro. The PvP-ness, like, I simultaneously understand why it's part of human nature and why it exists, but how pervasive and how big of a focus and the ways that people articulate or express that in Web3 specifically it's my least favorite thing about the space. It's absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane the way that people go, dude. And I'm not gonna say names. I'm not gonna call it, because actually it's people that I actually kind of like. Like, some people that I like recently were out here taking advantage of the fact that the ticketing debacle happened, and we're using that as an opportunity to go do this, shitting on them as to try and make themselves look better. And I was just so disappointed. I was like, man, I think that y'all are better than this. I think you're actually good people. Why is this your default response, to use Twitter, to weaponize Twitter now? And the fact that something went horribly wrong for a community and a lot of people, this is a bad moment, and you're just there. It's like ambulance chasing, to your point. It's like that, or when you're trying to profiteer off of people's fucking pain. You know what I mean? And again, I get it. It's a competitive market. People are going to look for advantages wherever they can. I just think there's better ways to do it than just trying to tear other people down to build yourself up, man. And maybe that's my naivete, and that's why I'm not a fucking crypto millionaire. Because if I was like Richard Hart and just a pure fucking sociopath, or like Polly or Ryder, I'd probably be a fucking multimillionaire by now. So,
okay. All right, I'm going to attempt to get us back on the track for the last 3 minutes. We're going to break down real quick, because there is info on this DeGods season 3, but there's not a ton. It is scheduled to happen on the 9th. So we did get this from the DeGods Twitter profile last night. It says be there August 9th. There's a couple other tweets that I want to point out here. Frank is saying it's not really like any other reveal. DeGods season 3 will have the same traits as the current DeGods in a reimagined style and aesthetic. The reason for the most reveal dips is when people reveal commons and floor them. Season 3 is not random. It is also non-dilutive. There's a couple terms that we need to kind of break out there, because it says it's non-dilutive, but if you're adding mints into the collection, and there was actual numbers thrown around on some of these, how is it non-dilutive? It says there will be a substantial increase in unique JPEGs from 10,000 to 40,000 plus attached to the DeGods NFTs. This provides more diversity without diluting the collection. So when I first started diving into this, there were a lot of questions.
I think what you need to do when you're reading this is put on the 3D glasses that Frank DeGods has handed you as you read it. And then it says, the sky is not blue. And if you look through those glasses, actually, the sky's not blue anymore, because you're wearing the glasses and looking through the lens that he tells you to look through. So I think you just got to make sure you're wearing Frank's 3D glasses that he handed you, and it all makes sense.
It's like invisible ink.
About complexity, right?
Yeah. What's up? Go ahead.
No. I mean, that looks very complex. I haven't read it yet, but Lord, I don't want to either.
Yeah, Frank was on a couple podcasts, and GiftEd was doing a great job of explaining kind of the kind of current state of the market. And Frank was saying the exact same things on this podcast this morning that got released this morning. The reason we haven't launched yet is because the things we were making, while they satisfy what we said we would do, they just didn't change the game. I know the ecosystem, these people too well. That just wouldn't work. You got to change the game every launch. He also went on to say we launched things that a lot of people wanted, utility, software, impressive things. It made no impact. When we did things like that people cared about but couldn't articulate, like changing the art, it's counterintuitive, but it worked.
Yeah, and look, I've kind of had like an interesting arc with Frank DeGods too, because a lot of the things that he was doing, those counterintuitive things early on, I wasn't really a fan. And he was anonymous, and so I kind of was fudding, and I wasn't really on board. But I have to say that and he's a really young guy too, right? So it's like you have to kind of take all of that into context. I think he was only like 23 when he like launched this, maybe like super young, so just factoring that in, he's not necessarily like super mature about some things, but he's growing quickly. He's learning through the space. And I have to give him at least credit here, because I do think that he has an innate understanding of the culture of the space. And that's what he's articulating here. And that's part of why, even though I've never been in the Utes or the DeGods ecosystem, I don't collect any of their stuff yet, I am becoming more interested and more bullish about what he's doing, because I do think that as far as founders go, he is probably one of the stronger, smarter ones, because he has that like Web3 native, innate, sort of, young, tech savvy meme mind. And he gets that it's like, you got to change the game and do counterintuitive, weird, experimental shit that doesn't fucking make any sense if you're looking at it from like traditional business, models. None of this is not traditional business. Web3 is not Web2. This is something totally fucking different. And yeah, just the fact that he kind of knows that and he's trying to do different things, I appreciate that effort, and that he understands that. I don't know that, like, again, I agree with everything that he says, or like that he's not full of shit when he says this isn't dilutive and he's not just like a marketing guy. Cause I think by and large, he's also just kind of a fucking marketing guy, and he's going to say whatever he needs to say. But yeah, man, there's a rock and a hard place right now for founders. It's very difficult. Another way that we've been articulating this problem is that like basically the way to actually keep winning is to just never ship any product.
Never do anything.
Just endlessly hype and talk about things that are coming, announcements of announcements, and just don't actually ever ship anything. It seems to be the winning way to go. So look, the fact that he knows that shipping something is probably going to work against him, and he's like thinking ahead on that, it's going to be really interesting to see what that looks like and how this works out.
Great. Listen, I agree with you on all of that stuff, man. And I think Frank has his finger on the pulse better than a lot of the founders. It's like very much Luca Net's territory with, dude, the fucking floor is at 8 something ETH. What PFP right now or what collection is at that price, right? When you see moonbirds and doodles, and you can, I need to look at the numbers on that, like the supply and all that stuff, but that's 7x, 8x. Some of what you see out there from like biggest collections. So they're doing something. With a migration from another fucking chain. That's a whole other interesting thing that nobody's pulled off. Like there's things that they've pulled off that are like very impressive. The one thing that I've felt like was a weak point for them that I think has been showing lately, as liquidity is continuing to exit, as the leverage triggers are working against them now on like blur and blend and all that, is they haven't had the greatest distribution of unique holders across any of their collections. Like if I went and looked 25% a couple months ago, sorry, what is it? 25%. Biggie, hop in whenever too, man.
That's not
a
strong unique ownership. That's not for a collection this big with a floor that high.
DP is saying the product of Web3 is different. However, the rules of business still holds true. I like how that sounds. I need to kind of break that out, but I like how it sounds. Using good to say great show.
No, for starters, I think what it's referencing there is like, again, this thing that most people try to point to is like, what have they shipped other than the art, right? Like the PFPs. And I like, again, not deeply embedded in the ecosystem. And I do like again, how it sounds, the idea of like a Web3 Soho house, right? Which is where I'm assuming we're at, or the last time that I think I heard Frank mention the DeGods. It's like something of the sort. I mean, I think like this can be his Rubicon moment, right? Like if they cross, if they cross it well, if this whole thing isn't dilutive and the art is as good as the Utes, because I do think the art is pretty cool. It can be successful for him, but there's just something about this project, and it's like I love learning from Frank. I love tracking the collection and seeing what they're doing, but I've never been remotely like keen on like pulling the trigger on it, because I don't like being kept in the dark in that regard. Like it's like he's a master of keeping things mysterious and promising a lot of things, and man, if he can deliver, he'll be remembered as such, right? But I don't know. It's something that remains to be seen, and I'm looking forward to it. I don't want to like FUD anybody in this space. I hope they do well, But yeah, like to say I'm adding 3,000, 2,000, or how many more, and it's not dilutive. Like I'm scratching my head there, and it's like maybe there's some type of math that I'm not understanding. But how is that not dilutive?
It is. He's trying to address. Yeah.
Whale is saying it's not dilutive either. Whale was looking at the announcement saying he doesn't think so. The term art refresh was also thrown around. You guys were looking at it with us while we were live.
I think what they know is that one of the biggest concerns and things that people are going to throw at them right now is that they're getting diluted right here, right? So they're just trying to tell people it's not, by saying, well, it's going to be sufficiently differentiated, right? But is it like, is it more
for new makers, or are they just going to be for holders, right? Like that's also a question, like I guess.
But it's more DeGods, right? So is it what I don't understand is like, are they breaking these into different collections again, or is this going to be part of the main DeGods collection? Because I don't understand why you would have one collection that isn't like, it's the same art, same collection.
Yeah.
I will say, like, it's like an open-ended question, right? Like it's an open loop, I think, and he did this on purpose because we're going to be talking about this for this next week.
Yeah.
People are going to be expecting and postulating all different kinds of scenarios. And, I think that can all be a positive thing for them if they're able to pull it off without a hitch. We saw Azuki not too long ago, a project that we thought could do no wrong. And so now let's see if DeGods can pull it off, right? Like, that's all I have to say about it.
Yeah, current supply on DeGods is 8,866 here based on Blur's stats. And then this is saying unique JPEGs from 10,000 to 40,000 attached to the DeGods NFTs. It could be yeah, there was something mentioning male and female as well. Frank is saying that the art looks too gory right now and they want to refresh it a little bit. So let's do this because we've already, almost got to an hour and a half here. Let's move on. Let's close out the episode and talk about it potentially on Thursday when Biggie's back, or potentially tomorrow, depending on what we want to do. Did you have any last thoughts, Gif?
I just hadn't heard that, and I just think that that's interesting. Like, we've seen several other big collections kind of updating the direction of their art towards more accessible illustrative styles. And so I assume that what he's saying there is that as they grow, establish their company, build the team and look to ways to express and build the brand into different avenues, that one of the kind of challenges for them is that the art is kind of mature. And that's probably limiting them from getting into certain places or partnering with certain brands, etc. So that's actually interesting if they actually kind of like soften the art, they kind of like take it from being as
long
edgy.
as they don't turn it into Barbie,
Yeah, like I don't know though. I that it's gonna be really interesting to see how people react to that, because that is sort of like a, hey, we're gonna like literally dull our edge to match a mainstream, narrative or sensibility. Whereas it's Web3 is very punk rock, right? It's like that's, to me, when I look at the DeGods, I'm like, these are fucking punk rock. Like the art's actually pretty fucking cool. That's part of the reason why I've never really shit on them, because like the art's actually pretty cool if you go look through it, and it's very punk rock. So yeah, how will their OG collectors and the Web3 space, who DP is right. I mean, look, we're all fucking too degen and immature sometimes, but that's the space.
That's just culture. That's just culture in general.
Culture. So yeah, how will people react to that? It'll be really interesting to see if they do that, where they dull the edginess of the art basically to fit a more mainstream sensibility. What happens then? Will a lot of OG
the holders,
like kind of turn off from it and say like, this feels too Disney? It's not what I wanted. I don't know.
Hey, look, I want to give one last shout out here to the chat. DP Prodigy saying Azuki vibes. Rocky R saying, so just new art and no utility for DeGods after so long. I think that's what GIF was just touching on. Maybe potentially the community getting upset about that. Prodigy saying OBOT had a fun show today. Thank you guys for tuning in all the way through, or if you just tuned in for a moment, we appreciate your support. Please leave a like on the episode. It helps us, man. It helps us get the word out about what we're doing here. We are, as I showed earlier in the episode, Saigo was giving us some love on the rehash threads via Web3's profile. I want to give one shout out to that before we head out. Any last takes here or last words? I did show something up there on the big screen that was saying the Curve founder is selling more Curve. So that was like updated 2 minutes ago. So we're not out of the woods yet, folks.
Yeah, usually these things, again, when there's a lot of smoke, there's usually fires, and that's why I kind of brought that up. Like I don't think we're probably out of the woods on something this big and potentially serious. So we'll keep watching it and keeping y'all updated, doing our best to cover everything that's happening across the space. Thank you so much for everybody tuning in. I throw up the rehash. If y'all don't know, we are doing recaps every day after these shows. So all of the headlines, all the different awesome things that y'all are sharing with us, that we're curating across Twitter or X, GM Web3, NFT Live, we put these together into what we hope is a very digestible, super easy to use thread over on X now. And so this will be out in the next hour or two. It does take a little bit of time to do it well and put it all together, but just know that in the afternoons now, every day we are publishing these rehash threads. It's basically just a recap, but branded Web3. That's the rehash. Look out for that. And if you can give it some engagement, some likes, some retweets, just go comment and tell us, hey, this was great, or it sucked, or it doesn't matter. But just know that putting some love on those and helping us get them out to more eyes really, really helps, because we do put a lot of time and energy into trying to provide some helpful recaps now. So look out for that. That'll be coming on the Web3 X account in just a little while. And we do appreciate everybody that chimes in or gives it a like and a retweet.
Yeah, absolutely. Just following up on that. I mean, if you're here right now, we just showed you what the rehash looks like. We're trying to make updates to that so that it can be the most efficient for you to get in the news and what you like. So if you do actually have something, I'd love to hear it. Like if you could just type it in chat, like what would get you to tune into that every day? Is it price action? Is it a certain story? Is it a certain sector? Those are the things that we're trying to upgrade that Twitter thread with, because we know there's a lot out there. We're trying to differentiate. We're trying to make sure we're making it as quality as possible.
Is it more pics of Biggie Poppins, in his
tried that.
hats? Maybe some selfies of Biggie trying on his various different headwear. Maybe if we add those to the thread, you'll want to see it more. I mean, people love Biggie, so let us know what you want to see.
All right, Biggie, last takes, man, and then I'll take us out of here.
OVOT, my brothers. We will see you next Thursday. God knows what new stories are gonna come down the pipe. It's just, I mean, honestly, it's a day away, but I'm already know. I already know it's gonna be something. So we'll see you next Thursday, my favorite day.
All right.
And talk to you then.
We will see DP, we will see Prodigy and DP here tomorrow, but we will see Ronan the Collector as well, and Biggie Poppins is going to be here on Thursday. So excited for the rest of the week. Hopefully we're still here, but we will. Hopefully nothing burns down in the meantime. But next time on NFT Live, we will see you guys. Our Vibe, our tribe.